know how long this video is going to be. Typically I edit my videos down to get rid of things that I repeat, or just make it a little bit shorter so that you don't have to sit there and watch a 20-minute video when it could be cut down to 6 minutes or 8 minutes. But this is a subject that I think needs to be unedited. I wanted to do a video on this because it's something that I had to deal with growing up, and it's made me who I am today. It had a big impact on who I am today. When I was younger, I was teased and bullied mercilessly. The worst incident I had to deal with, in terms of bullying anyway, was I was at a party for a classmate, a friend that I was going to class with, obviously, and it was her birthday party, and it just so happened that this same party was the group of girls in that middle school that had been making my life absolutely miserable. And they showed up and were quite livid with me because the day before, or 2 days before, I had gone to the principal and told the principal that they had been bullying me, and they found out, the grapevine and all that. And the leader of their merry little band of misfits pulled out a Bowie knife about this big and shoved it in my face, about half an inch from my face, and said, if you ever go to the fucking principal again, I'll slice your face open. And it was terrifying, to say the least. To this day, I remember how it made me feel. I was sheltered, as I've mentioned before. I was brought up in a very strict Catholic home. I was never really taught how to deal with bullying. I was always told to just ignore it, that it would go away, and it didn't. It would never go away. There were days that I didn't want to live anymore. It got to the point where things were bad. There were days I didn't want to go to school anymore. There were days that, sorry, I really didn't want to cry, but thinking about it brings back those memories, and they're not very happy to talk about. Just give me a second. It finally stopped when I was in 8th grade. It was near the end of the year. We were just about to go for summer break. It was going to be the end of middle school, and we were going to go off into high school, 9, 10, 11, 12, here in the United States. And it was the end of 8th grade, and I remember her name perfectly, Melissa Otero. I remember her name because she was the leader of this group of people who terrorized me and bullied me and made my life a living hell for the entire time I was in middle school, and even past, the school. So they were following me as I walked, because we had a huge round auditorium in the middle of the school, and there was a walkway that went all the way around the auditorium and basically led off into diverging paths to the different parts of the school, but the auditorium was basically the center of the school. And I was walking around the auditorium to go to the front of the school, and her group of, friends were walking behind me and taunting me and saying their typical bullshit to me. And I don't know, I really can't explain what happened to me that day, but something inside me snapped, and I lost it. I absolutely lost it. I flipped on a dime, I turned around to look at them, and I just started cursing obscenities at them. I'm not going to repeat everything that I said, but it was just loud, and it was raw, absolutely raw, and I just let all that anger and frustration and hatred out. And by the time I was done, all of them were just standing there kind of in complete shock, because I'd always been this quiet, timid mouse person who just let things happen and didn't fight back. And I think seeing me that way jarred them. thankfully that was the end of the bullying for me. That day was an epiphany for me because I realized bullies, they only have power as long as they think they can control you. And I think that day they realized that I was no longer going to be the pushover I was the last 3 years of middle school. High school was much more bearable for me. I wasn't bullied, but I wasn't really that popular either. I had my circle of friends and I was happy with that, but it wasn't like we were, prom kings or prom queens or anything like that. We were just kind of happy with our circle of friends. And to this day, one of the people that I met in high school, Chris, he's still my best friend, my number one top best friend. We've known each other 16 years, and he's just one of the best people I've ever known, honestly. But thankfully, high school was the end of the bullying for me. Some of the things that they would make fun of me for was I used to wear really huge Coke bottle glasses, and back in the day, Sally Jesse Raphael, sorry, I had to take a moment. Sally Jesse Raphael had a talk show, and she also wore those big glasses, so they used to call me that. I used to get Coke bottles. I had braces, so, all the shitty things that go with being, a kid with braces. I was extremely pale, so the movie Powder came out around that time in middle school, so I got called Powder a lot, whiteout. I was constantly mocked for being too pale, for having glasses, for having hand-me-down clothes, for having braces, for having weird hair, for you name it. They would find anything and everything, and I just hated my existence. I wanted to die a lot of times. I just didn't want to go on anymore. And that day at the end of 8th grade was the beginning for me. I woke up as a person. I very much found myself in high school. I found who I was, and I started to get a grasp of what I was into, what kind of music I liked for myself that wasn't influenced by anybody else. And I found a bit of my identity. And unfortunately, it took me until I was like 28, 29 to finally feel really happy and comfortable with myself. This video is not to tell people that are being bullied that you should do something about it. I'm making this video as a call to everyone who sees someone being bullied. Please do not stand idly by. Do not let things like that happen. I'm grateful that I ended up a rather, well-adjusted adult, for the most part. I have my faults, but for the most part, I'm a decent person, and I try to do good, and I try to be nice, and I do the best I can. I'm not perfect, but I do the best I can. But that's not the case for a lot of people, and we see it all the time, when school shootouts happen, or when people go through really traumatic experiences and they just can't go on anymore, Please do not be silent when someone is being bullied or mistreated. Maybe they'll grow out of it, the bullies will stop being bullies, but you can't count on that. You can't count on what's going to happen in the future. You have to do something in the present. You know what I mean? You need to be proactive. And one of the biggest things that I really, really hated was, I don't even remember what the campaign was, but it was something like, it gets better. And it just pissed me off so bad, because that's not the mentality I had in middle school. I wasn't waiting for it to get better. I wanted it to be better. And it would have been better if more of my classmates had spoken up about it and said something. So that's what I made this video for. It's not for the kids who are being bullied. It's for the kids who see other kids or other people or other adults being bullied. Do not stand idly by and let it happen. As I've said in previous videos, your silence is compliance. If you are silent about bad things happening, that is an indication that you're either okay with it happening, or you have the power to stop it and you just don't care, or you don't want to. if you're in a position that you can't do anything about it, I understand. You know, not everybody has the power to be vocal about bad things happening. I get it. But if you are in a position where you can say something, say something. Don't let what happened to me happen to other people and happen to other kids. You know? I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else to say, honestly. I can't think of anything else to say, at least. See, this is something I would probably edit out if I was editing this video, but I'm just gonna leave it in because I think this reaction is something that people need to see. I think it's natural, and you know, it's not something that can be faked, honestly. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, even though it wasn't really a very nice subject matter, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. If you liked the video, please hit the little like button because it really does help, and subscribe for future uploads. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching.